T to the V to the L to the I to the N to the E, TVLine.
Stephen, welcome. Always a pleasure.
Thanks. Always a pleasure for me, too.
Season 10 of Bones. Did you ever think you'd get to this place?
No.
A decade.
It was a little past anything we could possibly have imagined.
Yeah.
But every year, it seemed like there was more to do. So I don't think we ever got to the point where we said, enough, let's stop. There's nothing else we can do. So while it's shocking when I think about it objectively that it's, this is the 10th year, creatively, it doesn't seem that surprising. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting to be sick of it, and that has not happened in any way yet.
And you have the 200th episode coming
Yep.
up, milestone. Are you going to do anything special for that?
The one thing we can do in year 10 are odd episodes that, the 200th will be out of the ordinary. I think it's an episode that Hart and I will write. So even though he's doing Backstrom, we'll get together and write that one.
What can you say about it?
It's going to be a day in the life. The case, while important, will be more work-oriented than obsessive. The case is almost going to be the B story. Their lives, where they're at, and where they're at after 10 years will be the story.
The whole cast or just Booth and Brennan?
The whole cast.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see everybody in a very different light. We'll see them from a perspective we have never seen them before.
Any returning alums?
The 200th episode, we're still working it out now. So, clearly we want to get Billy Gibbons back. We want to have Ryan back, Cindy Lauper. But they are all in the works, but at this point in different episodes. Although a little bit of a dream is trying to get Billy Gibbons and Ryan together.
Let's talk about that finale and then the premiere. That was a spectacular shootout in that house.
Oh, yeah.
Really beautifully staged.
Thanks. That was a bear to do and really satisfying to see.
It looked like it, yeah.
You know.
Will you be giving them a new home in the premiere? How do you repair the damage?
The damage can be repaired for the next buyer.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
As I said, they fulfilled their deductible, and the insurance will pay.
Okay.
But the memories are too horrible for them to stay.
So they're moving.
They'll move. I was trying to keep that a little secret, but come on, who's going to stay in that house?
Right.
Not a good house to stay in.
So there's a 4-month time jump. I think
Yes.
you have told us that. And then when we pick up, is Booth still in jail?
We're going to pick up with Booth still in jail.
Okay.
The story has taken a huge leap forward when we pick up in the premiere. It's a break in the case that landed Booth in jail and split Booth and Brennan apart. A big break in the case has presented itself to them,
Yeah.
and they're running with it. But it's also at a time when Booth's life is essentially hanging in the balance yet again in jail. So that's where we pick them up.
Okay, and when you say splitting them up, you mean physically, not
Physically
emotionally?
splitting them up, not emotionally. Although there's a huge, there's an emotional ramification for what happened between the two of them. This is very traumatic for them because Booth, while Booth has been in war zones before, has been in terrible situations, dealing with the murders that they've had to deal with, he's never been betrayed by the people and institutions that he trusts, and the institutions that he has risked his life for. That's a big thing to deal with. And so in the first couple of episodes, we will be dealing with that. And it won't all be resolved in the first episode. And there will be fallout from everything that's happened that will trail out over time, but will certainly be alive and a part of the emotional canvas that we'll be dealing with in the first part of the season.
And we have a new character coming in, Aubrey.
Yes, we have a new character coming in, John Boyd, who is fantastic. We wanted to add someone new in the FBI, someone new for Booth and Sweets and Caroline to deal with, in the same way that we add the interns in, you know, in the lab. And we wanted someone who was not going to be deferential to Booth, you know, someone who was really going to go head-to-head with him. But someone who is much younger and more inexperienced than Booth, but someone who has the potential to be a phenomenal agent. But who thinks he already is.
You hinted that there might be a couple expanding their family this season, and it may not necessarily be Booth and Brennan.
I did hint that.
Let's take that hint a step further.
Okay, I'll say it again. Yes, there will be, at some point, not in the not too distant future, we will probably see a very little person who can not drive or feed themselves as yet. But how that little person makes their entrance and from whom is something I just kind of like to keep to myself at this point.